here are some questions from some screenwriters. As ever, these are just thoughts of mine. They're not definitive or anything.
Whenever you're ready, and I'll let you read them out.
Okay, yeah, so here we go. At David F. Poole, what levels of detail should you go into for a treatment and outline?
Answer number one, never write a treatment or an outline unless somebody is forcing you to do so or paying you a lot of money to do so.
Like, I think most writers, treatments and outlines are not my favourite thing. It's much better to get into the script, I think, but studios insist, which is understandable.
I never write treatments because I hate them so much. I hate reading them and I hate writing them.
Of course, a treatment is a document that has to have as much left off the page as left on. You know, think about what it means to be a busy, harried, important film executive, because that person probably won't read the treatment, their assistant will. Think about what it means to be a really busy assistant, and understand that the treatment needs to get that assistant into a state of anticipation and excitement, not in a state of exhaustive and encyclopedic knowledge as to what's in your head.
It's best to give as much detail as you can. It normally ends up being about 15 pages of detail, but always with the caveat it may not look like this, because treatments and scripts are totally different, and if you're absolutely bound by the treatment, I think the whole thing will start to become very boring and pedestrian. It's best to be able to, on the day, on the page, change things around.
It should just be short, sharp, and funny. You've got to grab people. You can't just bang on. In fact, I think you could probably be quite dishonest, because a treatment barely resembles a script, or rarely, because it's got no life to it. You're trying to work out the story without the people helping you, without the voices of the people, without scenes that come in and tend to take the story a different way. I hate it. I really hate it. So I just say, no, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to be not to be more helpful, but I mean, if you are going to write one, just make it, make it funny.
At Culture Addict, on average, how many draft scripts do you find yourself writing until you are happy and satisfied with your work? Happy and satisfied is difficult, ever.
This is a perfectly reasonable question that presupposes that I am ever happy or satisfied with my work. The only equivalent of happy and satisfaction with my work comes from when people spend money to make it, at which point I find myself even more profoundly unhappy and satisfied with my work.
I know writers who have written really great screenplays in one go. I've never done that. Sense and Sensibility was 17. Nanny McPhee, I don't know how many it was. 15, 20.
What a new draft is essentially that point in time when you are required to hand over your work to the producers and therefore call it a draft, and you hope get paid for that draft.
There's a system, and the Hollywood system is, I like it because it's structured, and you're normally required to do 3 drafts and the 2 polishes. The polish will come after each draft. In the process, before you deliver, normally if you're going through a producer, the producer will ask you to do another draft before they deliver to the studio. So your first draft can actually be your 5th draft sometimes.
Yeah, the first draft can be completely different to the last draft, and then the last 5 drafts are quite similar to one another. And then you've got drafts that make huge leaps and you chuck out loads of characters. I remember the first Nanny McPhee film, I had 17 children because that's what there were in the book. So each draft, the number of children went down until it was 7, because we couldn't afford it. And I'm never happy and satisfied with my work, so that's that.
At Liz Lockhart 1985 asks, do you have any tips on keeping up the momentum in your plot and avoiding lulls, especially if writing a feature film or TV series?
Make sure that your characters all speak differently, because it's tempting to have one voice all the way through. But it shows, you need all the characters to have a different, distinctive attitude, I think.
Every scene should be not just there. I think somebody gave me a good tip about this. It's then, because, but. So at the end of the scene, you go, but. It's like the end of a sentence or the end of a chapter. It's really, there should be an event in every scene, really. What's the event? That's what Mike Nichols always says. What's the event here?
I have no tips whatsoever about that because I actually like lulls, and I actually like loss of momentum occasionally in a movie. If you don't have lulls and you don't have a loss of momentum, then basically you're putting people into a blender and asking them to survive the experience. So I like movies that let you sit and kind of take some stuff in once in a while.